One of the hardest places to keep organized is the fridge. How many times have you found spoiled produce that got pushed to the back of the fridge? Have you ever had to empty out almost half of your fridge to find that one ingredient to finish that dinner dish you're throwing together? If you are looking for some tips to organize your fridge, keep watching. So you've emptied out your fridge, given your fridge shelves and drawers a good wipe down, and tossed all those expired and spoiled food items. Now to put all the remaining food items back into the fridge. One of the most important things to keep in mind when deciding where to store things in the fridge is food safety. Refrigerators in professional and restaurant kitchens are organized based on the temperature the foods need to be cooked to. Food items that do not need cooking to be safe to eat, like leftovers or prepared foods, are placed at the top. Then everything else is organized downward based on the temperature it needs to be cooked to, with the foods needing to be cooked to the highest temperature, like meats, being stored at the bottom. If a food item drips down to the foods below it, cross-contamination is not a problem because the food underneath that's contaminated has to be cooked to a higher temperature than the food sitting above it. Home fridges should also be organized with food safety in mind. Different spots in the fridge can have different temperatures. The warmest spots in the fridge are inside the door and the top shelf, so foods that are likely to spoil, such as milk, should not be placed on the top shelf or in the door. The top shelf is ideal for snacks, leftovers, drinks and ready-to-eat foods. Food items that don't require very cold temperatures, such as butter and cheeses, can be kept in the door compartments. The door is also a good spot to store condiments. The middle shelves of the fridge have the most consistent temperatures, so milk and eggs should be stored there. Since they are below the ready-to-eat foods, the lower shelves should also be used to store raw ingredients that will be used to make cooked dishes. Raw meat should be stored on the lowest shelf to avoid drippings. Since crisper drawers are often the lowest section of the refrigerator, you may have to store your meat on the shelf above them, and there is a risk that the meat can contaminate the produce stored in the crispers. One solution is to use one of the crisper drawers exclusively for raw meat. If it is not possible to use a drawer for meat, you can place the meat in a plastic bin or tray that can catch any drips from the meat items and allow you to store the meat safely on the lower shelf. The crisper drawers are designed to hold produce at specific humidities. You can adjust the humidity from high to low in most fridges, so properly setting the humidity conditions of the crisper drawers can help your produce last longer. Set one crisper drawer to low humidity and store your fruits there, as fruits rot less quickly in low humidity. Set the other crisper drawer to high humidity for storing your vegetables, as greens wilt less quickly when there's moisture. It's also a good idea to store vegetables and fruits separately, as ethylene gas from fruits can cause vegetables to spoil faster. One thing to keep in mind is to not overfill your fridge. An overfilled fridge can lead to blocked air vents and restricted airflow. This makes it harder to keep things cool, which reduces energy efficiency and can put a strain on the refrigerator motor. Having said that, a nearly empty fridge also makes it hard for the appliance to maintain cool temperatures. The best practice is to aim for a fridge that is 2/3 full. Besides food safety, here are some other tips about where to place food items in the fridge. Store like items or food groups together. For example, group condiments, salad dressings and ingredients for sandwiches together in bins. Group dairy items together so you're not looking for your cream cheese on one shelf and sour cream on another. Organizing this way will make food items easier to find and everything has its place in the fridge. Make sure to keep the items you use the most easily accessible. You shouldn't have to move half of the items in your fridge to get to something you use every day. Set up your system so you have easy access to frequently used items. If you have young children, consider having a snack zone for them on a lower door shelf so they can easily grab a snack or drink without making a mess. One of the most common problems we encounter with storing food in the fridge is avoiding food waste. No matter how hard we try, there is still that forgotten food item that accidentally got pushed to the back of the fridge or was blocked by things in the front and was forgotten. Here are some ideas to help prevent food waste. Make an Eat Me First bin. Keep a bin in the fridge for foods that have an expiration date that is fast approaching. Eat these foods soon so that they don't go to waste. Store older foods at the front. Keep older foods at the front and center of the fridge so they catch your eye and are not forgotten and can be used before they go bad. Track leftovers. Label leftovers with the date of preparation on the container and make sure to store them so the older leftovers are at the front of the fridge and are consumed first. You can also consider labeling them with a neat by date. Carry out a weekly clear out of your fridge. Every week, go through your fridge. Throw together a meal using whatever is left in the fridge before you go on your grocery run to restock. Rearrange the food items and leftovers so that older foods are at the front and don't get forgotten. Here are some other tips for organizing your fridge. Label everything. Label containers so that you know the contents as well as the date it was prepared or the expiration date. Use fridge mats. Using fridge mats makes cleaning quick and easy. Rather than having to remove the shelves from the fridge to wash them, it is much easier to remove the mats to give them a quick wash in the sink. Use a Lazy Susan. Keeping bottles and jars on a Lazy Susan makes them easily accessible, even if they are stored at the back of the fridge. Simply spin the turntable to reach the item you need. Let's now look at the sub-zero section of the refrigerator, the freezer. The freezer is a super useful part of the fridge where we often store reserves when we buy large amounts of a food item, or where we store leftovers when we prepare a large batch of food. Here are some tips to keep your freezer organized. Again, label everything. With the large amount of leftovers that are stored in the freezer, make sure to label each container with contents and dates. Do this even if you can see what's inside the container. You don't want to be surprised with a container of pasta sauce when you were expecting to have a container of stew for lunch. You can consider using different colored markers for different types of food, such as sauces, stews, meats, so you can quickly find what you are looking for. Freeze items in usable serving portions. If you throw a large package of meat into the freezer, it can be too much to thaw when you want to try and use it. And you do not want to thaw an entire package of something you only need a little of. Before freezing, separate and divide large amounts of food into smaller sized portions that work for your usual serving size. Freeze each portion in a separate container or bag. This way you can grab only what you need and thaw the right amount. Another tip is to freeze and pack things flat. Having frozen food items that are irregularly shaped blobs can make them hard to store and does not make good use of your valuable freezer space. Freeze meat, soups and sauces in a flat single layer. This way they can be stored like file folders in horizontal or vertical stacks, keeping your freezer neat and allowing for effective use of space. Another tip to make effective use of freezer space is to get rid of as many boxes as you can. Boxes are bulky and can take up too much space. Having a box that is only half full take up the whole box's worth of space is a waste of valuable space. When it makes sense, take the contents out of the box. This way, as you use up the item, the space it takes up also decreases, giving you back more freezer space. If there are preparation directions on the box that you may need, cut them out and stick them to the package. And of course don't forget to label it with the expiration date. To keep your freezer organized so that you can quickly find what you're looking for, store your items by category or zones. Divide your freezer into areas for veggies, breads, meats, soups, sauces and any other zone you may need. Consider using bins to keep your categories organized. What was the most useful tip in this video? Do you have your own tip for organizing your fridge to share? Don't forget to share, like and comment. And if you would like to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.